Hello everyone and welcome to my quick look of Memories on the Shoreline by Crystal Gameworks. They developed a game I covered some time back, That Which Binds Us, which I really enjoyed. So this is their new game that just came out a couple days ago. Developer did give me a copy, which I do appreciate. So it's an otome game, so if you don't like that, you might as well click off. So let's just start the game. It's $5.99 on Steam. It's 10% off sale going on right now, so a little bit cheaper. It's not very expensive either way, so I close the condo door and sigh in satisfaction. Spring break. Exactly what I needed. With winter exams behind me, I can finally look forward to making memories. People who matter. One of those people being Shion, of course. Ah, Shion. Childhood best friend, writing major, and book enthusiast joining me on my post-med school adventures. You got a smart girl. I took a fair deal of convincing, but she's here. She cast me a glare since I'm blocking the doorway. Oops. I stand aside to let her through and throw her a grin. I don't think even her death stares can get to me at this moment. Not with the sun shining brightly through the curtained windows, casting patterns onto the floor as they flutter lightly in the breeze. Sure, this isn't quite where I expected to be when I envisioned myself 10 years ago. I've always been the adventurer, the explorer, but now I spend my days learning how to patch up those who follow the path I want to follow. The dangerous, perhaps death-defying, and very risky one. I mean, it's all well and good knowing how to coordinate x-rays and stitch wounds, but is it so odd that I wouldn't mind breaking a bone or two if it meant I could get out of the claustrophobia of my dorm and just grab life by the reins a little more? I shake my head, discarding the thoughts, and follow after Shion. Dad had once called my dreams whimsical, but I think they carry as much weight and respect as any profession. Maybe one day they wouldn't feel so far away and unachievable. After all, buying this trip and holiday was about the most spontaneous med student could be, considering the amount of study we have on our hands. Stepping into the house, the temperature is slightly cooler than it is outside. I wonder how the heat-loving Shion would have felt about that. It was probably a bad idea of me to let Shion choose where she wanted to sleep first. I don't doubt she tried to spite me by taking any bed closet to the closest to the nearest window, aka exactly where I would like to be. Shion's a sweet girl, don't get me wrong, a little reserved and shy at times, but really, if you know her, you might regret doing so. She can be pretty cutting when she's mad. But she could never push me away, even if she wanted to. Shion, want to grab a bite to eat before we get set up? The house is going to be right where we leave it, so how about we do a bit of exploring? Lunch on me. I slide along the veneered hallways and peer into each room to try to grasp a glimpse of her. I find her in the third room across from the main door. You'd think that since we run in such a large condo, we would sleep separately, but there's just something about being in such a large, empty house that simply won't allow that to happen. She looks up and catches my eye. What? I did not skip that. Weird. Is there a log of sorts? There is. What? Lunch? We have a lot to unpack, and you know you're going to get distracted by one thing or another and we'll end up getting home at some ungodly hour. Hey, don't be so negative about it. We've got ages to unpack. A whole holiday to unpack. Let's see what treasures this place holds. You never know. It is a holiday area after all. We could meet some cool friends here. Plus, I'm hungry. You will not deny me my hungry. Shion pouts and my heart drops slightly. What if I don't want any new friends? Perhaps I just want to sit here in the romantic ambience and catch up on writing that story that you interrupted me in the middle of me to come to the beach. I bit my lip. She had a point. I just dragged her out here and called it spring break, but really, who could blame her if she thought this had been a little selfish? I had powered through my intense syllabus and tried to get ahead of the game just for this break, but maybe I shouldn't have disrupted her workflow. She looks at me solemnly and sighs deeply. How about you go scout and see what there is for both of us to do tomorrow? Meanwhile, I'll get both of us unpacked and set up for the time being. Tell me if there's a cinema nearby. I want to watch the new movie that came out, and if you can, I'd really love some orange juice right about now. I managed a watery smile before sticking out my tongue and running from the room, shouting behind me. Just don't call me for running out of food. For the record, I revoked my offer. Leaving the house, I air out my jacket and inhale deeply. The beach here is truly an ideal getaway location. Salt from the sea was reaching the condo, and with every breath I could taste it. I grinned as the beach started to come into view. It was breathtaking. Shion was missing out by not accompanying me, but those who don't hear must learn, and right then, I can hear every seagull, hot dog vendor, and screaming child as I walk past the bustling pier. The afternoon is cool and breezy, and I welcome the wind as it blows softly through my hair. I tuck a loose strand behind my ear. I'm sure a few days of this would definitely rejuvenate me and make me productive and ready for the start of the term. At least that's what I say every time I went on holiday. At the shore front, I stopped for a few seconds to take in the sights. The way the sun reflects on the horizon will always mesmerize me. But after a few minutes, I begin to lose interest. The sun's boring. What else is there to do? I mean, you can only admire the ocean for so long. Still, it's wondrous to think of what could be out there, you know? Both explored and unexplored territories alike. Isn't it a bit sad to be standing alone, dipping my sandaled toes into the water? I look toward the pier for some comfort. People watching would be a much better choice. The pier is abuzz with noise and clamor, but it's rather welcoming to be subject to all the sounds around me. It's a beautiful afternoon. We have waffle cones to lead you into the evening. Ice cream for all. Never too early for steak. Don't have time for dinner. Try our new and improved kebab. We've changed the recipe. Strawberries. Get your strawberries here. $1 for a bowl. I chuckle under my breath at the vibrancy of the place. Everywhere is so colorful. Each corner is so unique. Darting around the various stalls, pinball machines, and arcade games, I make my way to the head of the pier. The wind is much stronger here, and as I lean over the painted cast iron railings that line the pier, I almost have to resist its force. I can imagine that any nearby sailors may be having a hard time trying to get back to the pier. A noise like creaking metal takes my attention, and spotting a small gate not too far from me, I wander over towards it for shelter. It's slightly ajar, and so I push it open. It leads to a set of downward slippery steps that seem to go toward the platform underneath the pier itself. My curiosity is piqued. Why would there need to be a platform beneath the pier? My sandals offer about as much grip as a tomato on an ice skating rink. That is none to say. So I hold onto the railings as I make my way down. Only these railings aren't as picturesque as the ones upstairs. They seem to be growing a fair amount of mold, and it rubs off onto my hands. Ew. But I'm not doing that, I swear. I'm not hitting the button. Almost at the bottom, I chance to glance above me. People are still milling about, even though it seems that the sun is beginning to set. I should probably call Shion to make sure she's okay. Watch out, lady! My head. Ow. I support the back of my neck whilst I try to stand. Weirdly enough, the ground down here is fairly warm. I wonder if the pier is underground heating. Excuse me, miss, but if you wouldn't mind, I kind of can't breathe. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I scrambled to my feet. Of course, I had to land on someone. Underground heating on a beach pier? What was I thinking? Am I stupid? Oh, the poor man. I do a double take as the man gets to his feet and dusts himself down in front of me. His gaze is piercing as he looks directly into my soul. Is he mad at me? I don't recall seeing you around here before. I scoff slightly. Where? The beach or beneath the dingy pier? It's a holiday destination. Do you remember the faces of all the people you see? The man sighs and picks up the satchel he dropped next to him. I feel like I'd remember yours. Oh. Was that a compliment? The man turns to another man to his right who I hadn't realized was standing just right there. Oh, the landlord. How embarrassing. Mr. McKay, good afternoon. How are you? Thank you so much for allowing us to stay at the condo. It was really a different experience once you're actually living there. Goodness, Melody, it's you. You must really watch your step when going downstairs. Good afternoon to you two. How's the marvelous Miss Shion doing? I raise my eyebrows and take in the man. He's just a normal middle-aged male, perhaps in his late 40s, making the most of his life by letting what? He was quite a landlord. But throughout all of our discussions, transactions, and meetings with him, I couldn't ever help but think that he might have a little thing for Shion. She's doing great. She's currently just house sitting and unpacking whilst I scout the area. We're really grateful you hooked us up with such a sweet deal. Speaking of whom, I do need to remember to buy her orange juice before I go home. House sitting, you say? I suppose as I'm heading that direction, I may pay a visit, just to make sure you both settled in well. Why, thank you, Mr. McKay, but I don't think that will be quite necessary. After all, we're still both very tired. Perhaps you could come by tomorrow when we're both there and give us an idea of what we can find in the area? I know we'd both really appreciate that. We both have quite different tastes in, well, entertainment. Mr. McKay laughs heartily before turning to the stairs and waving behind himself. I'll admit his grin is happy enough to light up any room, and I smile contagiously. Of course, make sure to let me know if there's anything else you need. I'll be off now, much like to catch the owner of the wine stall before she closes up for the evening. I nod in agreement and give him a wave. We each have our own ways of dealing with things. Sheepishly, I turned back toward the mystery man who had been standing around awkwardly, unsure whether to leave us to a conversation and be on his way, or to interject. My name's Brennan. Nice to meet you. I live here, so I guess you could call me a regular. He offers his hands for me to shake, and I firmly take it. I mean, with those eyes. How could I not? Melody, med student and not a regular here, although I wouldn't mind becoming one. The man eyes me weirdly, but doesn't pull away. In fact, I feel I could see a smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. What brings you to Florida? I let go of his hand and adjust my own handbag over my shoulder awkwardly. Well, med school gets a bit tiring and very stressful. It's so intense, so I thought I'd save up a little for my part-time and treat myself. I have my friend here, too. Well, she's at home, basically. I'm on holiday. Because I'm stressed, and stressing isn't good for you, Especially when you're studying to become a doctor. I mean, imagine being stressed in an examining room and making a fatal error. That could be disastrous. Stressing just generally increases your cortisol levels, and adrenaline makes it harder for you to sleep and make rational decisions. So really, I'm just taking the opportunity to really look after my health. And I inhale and I realize I've just been babbling. Oh God, this always happens. I can barely get past hi. I wince, awaiting his judging look. Sometimes the reaction pool is mixed a little, and I get an odd glance and a weird expression instead. But mostly it just ends up with the person I'm talking to not really wanting to, talk anymore. But looking up to meet his eyes again, I see he's smiling. I dare say that's quite a smart move, Melody. As a fisherman, I'd say I know better than anyone that to stress while fishing is a recipe for no fish. See what I did there? Fishing recipe. He laughed to himself, and I would have started laughing at his lame joke too had I not been trying to process the way he said my name. It sounded so natural, so necessary. Please say it again. So is that what you're doing down here on this shoddy platform then? Fishing? I cover my mouth as I realize what I just said. Way to go, Mel. Insult his entire occupation, would you? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to call it shoddy. Only this place just doesn't exactly seem as cozy or upbeat as it does upstairs. It just seems a little suspicious is all. Not that you're suspicious, I mean, I'm sure you're a lovely guy, at least. I hope you're a lovely guy. Please be a decent guy. Brennan laughs, and I find myself relaxing at the sound of it. Well, I'd like to say I'm a decent guy, but you, miss, considering you thought this place would be suspicious, don't you think it says something about you chasing that mystery? What was he trying to say? Well, I was just curious. It's my first day here, and I want to see the sights. Really familiarize myself with the area, I mean, who fishes here anyway? Surely all you're going to catch are rogue bikini tops? Ah, rogue bikini tops. All I need is a yellow and purple striped fondue to complete my collection. I looked at him in horror. I'm joking. Don't take me so seriously. Of course I don't fish for bikini tops. For me, fishing is just a relaxing pastime. I get to combine all my favorite things at once. Fishing, some light music, and the sunset which I can stare at until my eyes stop working and my retinas burn. I was actually just packing up for the day. Today was a bit slow, so I didn't really catch anything at all, but it's the patience and skill that counts, I was just about to wind up the day with grabbing a bite to eat. Would you, since I'm on my way, would you, I look at him expectantly and the blush rises in his cheeks. Would you accompany me to get some late lunch, would you? I mean, I'm starving and I'm hungry and I know more about you. I mean, it's the least you could do after you ran me over. I roll my eyes. So you're a jokester, are you? Only if it makes you laugh. He winks and I smile and smile back and take a hold of the railing to steady myself as I make my way back up the stairs. So was that a yes? Would I? I've been trying to find a decent place to eat for about an hour now. You better lead the way to the best place you know. Well, I know a few people who know a few people, so that shouldn't be too hard. Say, the beach doctor's wife owns a small little shack with the best loaded baguettes. We're talking cheese, meats, lettuce, and any other fillings you can imagine on a beautifully thick Italian bread. Melody, I'm telling you, if we don't go now, there's literally no point in you being here in Ford at all. I'll take your word for it. Reaching the top of the stairs, I sidestep, allowing him to also step into the sunlight. In the sun's cast, I can see him a lot better and really distinguish his features, but it's his eyes and musty brown hair that truly pull me in. He gives me a boyish grin and I look away sheepishly. Well, would you look at that? Not only are you clumsy, but you're cute too, aren't you? Ah, flirt too. I turn around sharply so he can't see my burning face. Contrary to popular belief, I don't usually fall down slippery sets of stairs and bump into random fishermen. Actually, I'd like to say I'm fairly alert of my surroundings. Thank you very much. I turn back to stick my tongue out at him, and he smiles again and turns and takes the lead. I try my best to follow closely behind, but expertly he weaves through the tents and gazebos whose owners are beginning to pack them away as the day winds down. I almost find it a struggle to keep up until he stops just in front of a stall that is still up and being manned by a wiry but energetic elderly woman. Good evening, Miss McGee. How are you today? The woman makes a tired smile. Her eyes are crinkled with laughter and years of wisdom. I find myself mirroring her action. She seems sweet and happy attending the stall, and the scents coming from the meats being cooked on the grill behind her float into the noses of every passerby. Oh, Brennan dear, it's good to see you. How is your mother? Feels as though only yesterday you were such a small boy. How's your little scratch? Has it healed yet? At the mention of the scratch, Brennan pales and looks around awkwardly. Yes, Miss Nagi, the scratch is healing. Can we not talk about that now? Mrs. Nagi regards him knowingly but offers a deep nod. I'd like you to meet someone. I came because Melody over here is new to the area and I was just telling her how amazing your sandwiches are. What's on offer today? Mrs. Nagi turns to me and leans over the counter, her small frame resting against the metal as she analyzes me emotionlessly. All of a sudden, a wide grin spreads over her face. Why, of course. What would you like to try, little lady? It'd do to you to have some good to get some meat on your bones. Are you well? I have lamb, pork, and beef if you wish to sample. I flush in embarrassment. She had the charm of my grandma, and although she seemed lovely to be around, she seemed just like any other grandma, prone to expose your soul at the slightest opportunity, something I would rather not go through. Why, thank you, Mrs. Nagi. Could I try a beef and cheese sandwich? The woman mutters in, of course, and turns around to begin preparations for the meal. As she throws spices and vegetables onto her trusty grill, I take the time to really consider Brennan. He has a checkered scarf tucked into his tackling box, and I wonder what it would look like on him. Hair is shortening. Why does it do that? Not doing that. His hair is short and a dirty brown, made lighter by time and the sun. So he was an outdoors guy? Good to know. I could imagine sitting on the beach with him under a huge umbrella, just taking in the sights and the stimulus of the getaway location. What am I thinking? I've just met him. That said, he has been very kind to me. For anyone else, his actions may signal warning signs in people's minds, but for me, it was an expression of true spontaneity and charisma for him to introduce me to a woman like this. I'd like to keep in touch with him. Hey, Brennan. I'm going to be around town for a few weeks, but I don't exactly know my way around just yet. I'm kind of an adventurer, so I'd really appreciate the tour. What do you say? His face falls, and so does mine. Not quite the reaction I want from him. Hey, Melody. I'd love to, but I can be busy sometimes in this place. Well, between you and me, it can get kind of weird at night. I scoff. Trying to scare me? I can handle a little weird. But that Brennan looks uneasy. I don't think you understand, Melody. I'm talking like really weird. Like you wouldn't believe your eyes weird. I look at him with a raised eyebrow. What is that supposed to mean? Haha, come on, Brennan. What are you on about? Why can't we at least hang out during the day? Well, sure, we can hang out in the day, but I'm mostly around in the evening. Well, I mean, didn't you say you were here on holiday with a friend? Honestly, I suggest making sure you guys are both alive and safe at night. I slide my hands into my pockets and begin to fume slightly. He's taking this a bit too far. Does he think we're not capable of looking after ourselves and traveling around at night? I beg to differ. The nighttime is the time when the best adventures happen. It's not personal, Melody. Honestly, you seem like an amazing girl, but you wouldn't believe me even if I showed you. Try me. He blinks in surprise, and just at that moment, the talented chef to the side of us tosses a large heap of meat into the air and catches it again in the sizzling pan. I clap gaily, and she casts a toothy grin back at me. Come again? I roll my eyes in annoyance. I said try me. Show me what it is so weird. Tonight. I don't think that's such a good idea. Spare me the excuses, fisherman. If you're so worried about our safety, I'll bring Shion along with me. So just give me a place and a time. Shocked to my own confidence, but I try not to show that. Brennan seems to be taken aback too, and I shoot him a smirk. Fine then, Heels. Meet me at the shoddy platform tonight at 2 a.m. But don't say I didn't warn you. Really? You're gonna call me Heels? I'm wearing sandals. Considering the way you fell, I don't think I could blame anyone if from... Yeah. Considering the way you fell, I don't think you could blame anyone if from afar they thought otherwise. That's low. That's real low. Well, you address me as fisherman. Don't expect me to be particularly sympathetic. Sends an annoyed look over his shoulder, and inside I'm trying to keep myself from jumping from joy. Did I actually just win an argument? Oh, wait. So, Shion, here's this. Oh yeah, Shion. I hadn't actually thought about how hard it would be to convince her to get up at 11 p.m., yet alone leave the house at 2 a.m. This would take some work. I'm snapped out of my reverie by a wrinkly old hand, handing me a paper basket with a carefully wrapped sandwich in it. It smells divine, and suddenly my stomach growls. The blend of fresh lettuce, cheese, and beef threatens to increase my appetite severely. Brennan watches me as I unwrap the sandwich and sink into it. It's amazing. It's heaven on earth. It's a concoction of spices and flavors that explode at every second. While scoffing down my own portion, I make a loving gesture to the cook, asking for another portion. Mrs. Nagi puts up on it straight away and gets to work. Slow down, Heels. You're going to end up tumbling your food out too. I scoff at him and burst into laughter. He's really in love with his own jokes, isn't he? Through full cheeks I manage to muster. Oh, all you want, fisherman. Mrs. Nagi hands me a second portion, and I put it straight into my satchel. It's actually for Shion, but if she doesn't want it, I'd be more than happy to lend a helping hand in digesting it. After we finish eating, Brennan makes for his wallet, but I'm a step ahead of him, tearing up my purse and slapping a $10 bill down on the counter. Thank you so much, Mrs. Nagi. It was amazing being here and getting to meet you. I'll definitely be sure to bring my friend next time. I love this place. The lady smiles, and I dust myself down and begin to make my way in the direction of home. Brennan jogs up to meet me. You know, I was going to pay for that, Melody. I know. Thanks, but no thanks. Appreciate it, though. Well, you really are something. I'll give you that. Yeah, I pay for my own things. I'm really something. I decide not to focus on that something too much. Around me, the roads and walkways are beginning to become less and less commercial and more residential. The plants indoors and houses start to become more familiar. It's an amazing area. You know, it almost feels surreal to be here. I quietly note the convenience store that we passed on my right. Okay, we need a fair amount of groceries soon, and it was comforting knowing that we wouldn't have to go too far. Thanks for a great first day, Brennan. Does this mean I get your number now? Brennan shifted his hands around in an attempt to hide the weakness. Well, I suppose you're going to need it if we're going to be meeting up tonight, won't you? Hand over your phone, kid. Take my phone from my pocket. You're not going to steal it, are you? Maybe, maybe not. You won't know until you give it to me, will you? With a shrug, I unlock my phone, open my contacts logs, and give it over. He does the same, and I cautiously type my name to his phone. Try not to seem or look too eager, you know. Play it cool, Mal. With a smile, he hands my phone back over to me, and I cluck in disappointment as what he had left. Name, Brennan, that hot fisherman from the Bee. There was a character limit on the name field, which he threatened to exceed, and the fact that he didn't get to finish typing the name he saved himself under made it all the more appalling. This is how our first introduction went. I overlooked it, giving him a displeased look, but put my phone back in my pocket anyway. Hey, wait right there, will you? I look at him incredulously as he breaks into a run for the convenience store. All of a sudden, I'm alone in the middle of the street in the looming darkness. I shiver as the atmosphere gradually begins to get closer and closer. As I edge toward the sides of the road so as not to attract much attention to myself, seconds pass, then minutes. and deflating thoughts began to trickle into my brain. Did he alter my phone at all while putting in his name? Was it a bad idea giving my number to a near stranger? Why did I have to be so excited all the time? Was he going to leave me here? Ooh, I screamed. What the hell, fisherman? Didn't be laughing miraculously, not giving me a single care about the mini heart attack he just gave me. Chill. This is joke. Here, this is for you. He handed me a bottle of chilled orange juice. Oh yeah, the orange juice. I looked at it weirdly. You said your friend wanted orange juice, and you were on your way home and passed the only convenience store for a while, so I figured you'd forgotten. This is the part where you thank me? Thanks. A warm feeling fills my chest, and I have to say I do like it. Perhaps he wasn't so bad after all. I'm surprised that he even remembered the comment I made in passing. But I'm afraid this is where I'll have to draw the line and say goodbye. I'm going home now. Don't follow me, fisherman. Ugh, wouldn't want to. I might get crushed again. He gives me a wink and I bite my lip. 2 a.m., remember? I wave him off. Yeah, just go. The last thing I see before I turn around for the final time is him returning my wave. Yeah, seems nice. I unlock the condo with my key and listen out for any incoming bundles of pajamas. There are none. But that doesn't mean that wild beast isn't loose. I try my luck in the main room and find her watching movies on her laptop with her earphones plugged in. On a normal day, I would have tried to scare her, but something felt odd about doing to her what Brennan had done to me only a few minutes ago. I walk carefully into our field of view, trying my best to look natural. Oh hey, when'd you get back? I folded all the clothes and unpacked her suitcases. Just so you know, I've forgiven you and I'm ready to have you accept the fact that we'll be watching movies all night so you can make it up to me. About that, actually, I met someone. Excuse me? I rummaged in my satchel and found the bottle of orange juice and the sandwich. She eyed both carefully. Hear me out. I met this really cool guy called Brennan. He wants to meet me, us, tonight at 2 a.m. 2 a.m.? He laughs incredulously. You met a guy and he wants to meet you tonight at 2 a.m. Will it be easier to hide the bodies at that hour? Why me too? What did you say about me? Well, he's not just a guy, okay? He's a fisherman. He seems to know everyone in the area. People know him. Shion began to raise her voice. Oh, a fisherman! Well, that makes everything better, doesn't it? Sure, people know him. But no one knows us, Melody. No one would notice if we went missing. Did he walk you home? Does he know where we live? I waved away her concerns. No, he didn't see me walk home. He bought you that orange juice bottle. He's a nice person. He bought the juice? She looks at the juice bottle warily. Besides, this is why I told him that I come with my guardian angel and favorite person in the world who I know would protect me if anything went wrong. Can we not just have a quiet holiday for once? In a huff, she went towards the bedroom. I sat on the sofa, crestfallen, but within a few minutes, she re-emerged, this time wearing more casual clothing. My chest rose with hope. Not only are you going to be staying up with me watching movies this week, but I hope you know that we're going to see all of the landmarks and historical monuments in the area, and I'm going to book a tour tomorrow. I don't want to hear a single complaint. I gave her an admiral salute as she kissed her teeth at me and settled back into the sofa next to me. The clock on the laptop screen said 11:39, at least 2 more hours to go. Now we wait. Pier had less people milling around as Shion and I walked down it. The tide was rumored to get stronger at night, so there were only a few stray humans left on the beach below. We carefully navigated to the gate where this had all started. Careful, I slipped on these stairs and fell on top of him. Ugh, it was so embarrassing. I saw Mr. McKay, though. What, you fell on top of him? Why would you even bring up Mr. McKay? He's completely irrelevant when you put those two subjects in one sentence. I bit my lip and focused on being steady on the stairs. In the early throes of the morning, there was no light. My eyes were groggy after having had a small nap and waking up in an odd position. Similarly, my neck has a cramp and my legs ached from so much walking that I hadn't mentally prepared for. We reached the bottom of the stairs and I stopped in my tracks as I see what's ahead of me. Did it again. I wonder if other people are having that issue. Are you sure this is a good idea? We're pretty far from any form of civilization. That's her sense as soon as she sees what I see. There ahead of us is Brennan with his back to us, aggressively wrestling with what seems to be another man at the edge of the platform. She and I stand back in shock. What's going on right now? Is it right for us to assume what's happening? It seems like Brennan is trying to push him over the edge. Either that or the man is trying to drag him down too. Let's help Brennan. No matter what the situation was, I trust that Brennan is in the right. Brennan wanted me down here so that he could open my eyes to new experience. He knew my nature and was really being hospitable. Hey, leave him alone. He wasn't a serial killer. Someone not to be trusted. He was a man who knew everyone in town, who fished and bought strangers' orange juice, and who was definitely worth protecting at all costs. Well, I mean, most serial killers are really charming. That's how they get their victims. I have to help him. Jumping to action, I pull Brennan backwards away from the person. He stumbles back, but I catch him before he can crumble to the ground. The other man, seemingly incapacitated and not in control of his bodily functions, seems to slink over the edge. For a moment, I'm worried that he would drown, but Shion quickly steps in and manages to catch the man on the edges of the pier. His lower half submerged in the water, while she holds up the man's seemingly limp body over the wooden platform. He looks heavy, but he isn't my priority right now. I turn to it as Brennan for wounds. Are you hurt? He shakes his head, but I'm not convinced. I try to support him as best I can, but he's dragging me down a little as he catches his breath. What happened? Tell your friend. Tell your friend to get away from him. He winces and doubles over in pain. He told me he wasn't hurt. Was he trying to drown you? Where did he come from? Who is he? Did we call the police? No, he wasn't trying to drown me. He belongs in the damn water. He's a... Melody, we shouldn't have come down here. I told you this would be nothing but trouble. Brennan struggles to his feet, still massaging his neck. He looks at Shion guiltily. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put your friend in danger. Sorry to have made you worry about me. This definitely isn't quite the way I thought we would have met. His arm still around my shoulder, he tries to stand independently. I try not to think about how close he is and focus on keeping him standing. I wish we could have met on better terms, but my name is Brennan. I fish. Shion regards him with a huff, but I can tell she's swayed by his cordiality. I would be too, be perfectly honest, but now it was not the time to date. Dope. Can you please explain what's going on? Why was he trying to drag you into the ocean? This is what I'm trying to tell you, Melody. Weird things happen over here. The man isn't human. He's a mermaid. Shion bursts into laughter. Warily, Brennan slowly picks up a lantern that's discarded to the side. The glass of the lantern is shattered and the candles doused. I'm not lying. Mermaids, or at least this guy, are attracted to light. I saw my lantern and tried to steal it. I was just trying to wrestle it off of him. He wasn't trying to drag me to the ocean, but probably just take the lantern. Surely it would know that the candlelight wouldn't survive underwater. Well, I'm not sure. I never tried to talk to one. I don't know if they speak English, yet alone communicate at all. Now, I haven't seen them very often, but when I have, they've been really violent. Thanking me, he removes his arm from my shoulder and pushes up his shirt sleeve. One gave me this a few years ago. Nails are super sharp. I went to see a doctor, and he said that in all his years treating wounds from reckless surfers and beachgoers, never seen a wound like that before. It was so deep, and it seemed to burn, too. It left this mark, and I haven't been able to get rid of it since. Not that I've been trying. I mean, all on your flaws and highlights, right? But I'll just never forget that day. I stand in shock and surprise. Brennan's white overshirt mostly covered up a thin but discolored scar. I suppose from an untrained or unobservant eye, it would have looked like a faint tattoo, but as a medical student examining it, I could also see that these seemed to be abnormal markings. They made his flesh slightly discolored, and the scar had a frayed rather than clean outline, like a paint stroke that had been flayed in the perpendicular direction. I don't believe this mermaid shit, but I'll humor you. What happened? Brennan's palms back of his head looking uncomfortable, and Shion pushes the knocked out man off the frame and sets him on the edge of the platform, still half submerged. I guess even if she didn't believe the man wasn't human, she didn't seem to care much for their health either way. Well, happened about 3 years ago. I was fishing pretty early in the morning, around 5 a.m. The sun was just beginning to rise. It was beautiful, actually, so I just watched it and set my fishing aside. When I had my fill of staring, I felt productive, re-energized, like the sun had just revitalized me and given me enough energy for the day. I felt empowered, like I could do anything. So I decided to fish. Fishing was great. I managed to catch a few good throws on less bait than usual. I felt on top of the world, like my luck was finally turning. Like all human beings, I decided to push my luck, gambled a lot on my bait on my hook, and once and then cast it. I don't know what I was hoping for, but something big, something I could call home about, I was sitting there for a while, nothing was happening. Began to hear people walking above my head, so the town was waking up, and I was just close to just calling it in the morning and turning in to have a nap before work. But then I caught something. Whatever it was so heavy I could barely reel it in. I thought I'd grabbed onto some junk, some kind of deep artifact or junk that was giving a lot of resistance to my reel. But then my line started moving, and I knew that whatever it was alive. At this point, I was beginning to panic because I had no backup nearby, and a creature this big couldn't mean anything but trouble. I mean, the beach was about to open, and imagine the chaos that could occur if it turned out to be a whale or a shark that swam too close to shore. Eventually, my line went slack, and I thought it had disappeared. I was a bit disheartened because I just used the last of my bait for something that had just gotten away, so I just stood up and turned to leave. And then I felt it. Strong, firm grip on my leg. I didn't even get to turn around before I was yanked off the platform and I was underwater. Hadn't even managed a breath before going under. I was fully dressed and pretty much blind, and I felt myself going deeper and deeper. Pressure and more pressure was beginning to pile onto me. God, I felt like crying. Whilst I was drowning, something was attacking me. I seemed to want to get my watch off my arm. My grandma gave me that watch before she passed away. She was best friends with Mrs. Niggy. You remember her, Melody? I nod silently. Yeah, well, there was no way in hell I was going to give that up, so I fought back, barely. I was running out of oxygen, and I guess it didn't seem to like the fact that I wasn't going to let go without a fight. It wrapped its tail around me and squeezed. I really felt like I was going to die. It was squeezing every last atom of oxygen out of me. Their plan was working. What color was their tail? I can almost hear the gears whirring in Shion's head. She was visualizing the story in a way that no other person could, no matter how serious the matter was. Brennan sighs. Yeah, theirs was more of a light gray, a very light gray, like a cloudy morning. And it sparkled too, which at some point made me think it could be silver, but I'm fairly sure it's gray. Shion nods. I don't think she needed that deep a description. Anyway, it won because the next thing I knew, I was just washed ashore. I was lying on the beach and there were people around me. Some were screaming. I could hear an ambulance. There was an intense pressure on my right arm that I couldn't place in the moment. My lungs felt like they were screaming and choking at the same time. Then I saw the blood. My blood. Staining the sand. I was bleeding out fast. Long story short, there was a huge gash in my arm and I handled it like a pro. As usual. The smirk on his face is smug, but I could see the pain and the fear in his eyes as he relives the story. Sorry to be the skeptic, but how do you know you weren't just hallucinating? I mean, how do you know you didn't just slip and trip on the platform, have your flesh tear on the stray nail, and then luckily end up ashore? I mean, there's a ton of explanations for what could have happened. I know what happened. I know what I saw. I saw their eyes. Their eyes were crimson red. They would have killed me for that watch. Heaven knows why they didn't. Their tail is as strong as any heavy-duty machinery. I'm sure of it, and my watch was gone. At that, both Shion and I are quiet and contemplative. If you don't believe me, how about you take a look for yourself? With a huff, Shion turns around and positions herself for a better view, looking over the platform edge to see. Her eyes glaze over, and she sits back frozen. She shakes her head frantically and then checks again, as though in disbelief. What's the problem, Shion? Right. What? He's right, it's a mermaid. What? I saw a tail. He had a tail, I swear he had a tail. Are you really biting into this? What do you mean? I walk over to the edge of the platform and see for myself. What the hell? Instead of a set of dangling legs behind the body in the water, as I expected to see, a long, thin, and cobalt blue scaled length seemed to emerge from behind him. My hands start shaking. That's an actual tail. The tail blends perfectly into the skin. I know what surgery cosmetics costumes look like, and that was none of them. It was a tail. Then, as if on cue, all of a sudden, a dark-haired face appears at the edge of the platform. We all scream. Falls into our backside and scurries backward in urgency. The creature puts his hands over the edge, then their elbows, and it seems to be utterly human as their chest rises and they rest on the pure edge. Human until the large azure tail emerges from the water, curling up behind him. The tip flicks salty seawater at us as it comes to a static position before it slams back down onto the ocean surface with a resounding slap and another sea spray. Jeez, you guys are loud. Did you really have to drop me like that? Haha, it talks. Despite the laughter in her voice, she sounds terrified. Keep it down, you might scare it away. Scare me away. You think you're the big guy around here? Rich. What the hell are you saying? Everyone just chill, please? I turned to the thing. You, what? Who are you? Well, I wouldn't have thought that a pretty lady would start a conversation so aggressively. We would try this again. Who are you? I blush and I hate myself for doing so. His voice, there's something about it. Sultry and smooth and utterly enchanting. I my name is Mel. Shion raises an eyebrow and I can feel her asking why I didn't give him my full name. Then we said, why Mel? It's nice to meet you. Got the crap, squid. Why are you fighting him? Who are you and why do you exist? Crylis, that's his name. Crylis feigns hurt as he put his hand to his chest and upset. Though I think asking why do you exist might be going a little too far. Why do I exist? What a loaded question. I'm not quite sure, but tell me, writer, why do you exist? That's the question you really wanted to answer, isn't it? Because you're very much into knowing the answers to things, understanding, interpreting. Well, are you going to write about me when you get home? I narrow my eyes at him. How does he know that Shion is a writer? Have you been watching me? How do you know that I write? What the hell are you? He just smirks at her. Wouldn't you like to know? You seem to fit in to call me a squid, so let's roll with that. Can you stop messing around and give us some answers to our questions? It's 2 a.m. We're all tired. Well, excuse me for not being accustomed or too fussed over your human concepts of time. Crylis runs a hand through his hair, and it was at this point that I realized how handsome he is. The position he was in, he looked just like any other human who had pulled themselves out of the water and were just waiting on the platform. Of course, I was ignoring the fact that he had a magnificent tail hiding beneath the ocean's surface. I can read people, your passions, your thoughts, almost your wants and needs. You're like, what do you keep? You're like diaries to me and my people, so open like books. Apart from you. Crylis points at me and I give him an equally as cutting stare. I can't read you as well, and that annoys me. I'm not a book for you to read. He huffs and waves his hands in a dismissive manner. Most humans don't have a choice, but no matter. What are you? Shion's patience was beginning to wear thin, and I should tell that she was trying her best to keep her anger in check. She rubs her temples with the tips of her fingers and walks the length of the platform up and down repeatedly. Crylis smiles, another smugly again, knowing he has the upper hand, but this time he decides to entertain our questions. How do you guys put in your lore? Not really a direct translation. My language just exists to you human ears, and neither will you understand it, but my nativity cannot be discerned with one word. Your historians may call me a siren. Your offspring may say a merman, although I'd like to take this time to clarify that is not correct. And your friends may call me an enchanter. He winks at that, and I bite my lip. You can settle with calling me Crylis. The less you know about me, the better. Crylis. I try his name on my tongue, and he smiles. My name sounds nice from you. I blush and turn away. Shion isn't easily distracted. You still haven't answered our questions. Why were you fighting Brennan? Oh, that's his name, isn't it? How fitting. Crylis looks at Brennan bemusedly. The fisherman grits his teeth. I'm just sitting here trying to figure out what the hell I meant by that. Well, the genius was right. I lacked a light. A lamp, was it? That's what you called it? Have you ever heard the concept of possession? That's not yours. You can't just take it and kill him by dragging him into the ocean. Have you never come across a human before? We can't breathe water like you do. I'm pensive, contemplating her words for a moment. No, I don't mean humans much, but I wanted the light. And to me, that's all that matters. Shion made a noise to show her disgust. Seemingly. Come on, princess. Don't look at me like that. Don't you also like pretty things, enchanting things that don't exist in your world? If you come with me, I can show you things that don't exist in your world either. We have the same eye for priceless experiences. Why not? Step into the water and I'll show you the world beneath the surface. Are you crazy? What are you trying to do? Find an underwater bride? Back off. Bride, no. I may have questionable ways, but I'm not dishonest. And besides, it was just a jest. Going underwater now would be dangerous. How many times must one of us utter that humans can't breathe underwater? I'm not stupid. But no matter. How about I just come to you? What do you mean? Crylis sighs. Well, on second thought, I think I'd actually like some privacy whilst I do this. So if you could turn around, that'd be fantastic. I haven't done this in a while, and I think this could be fairly embarrassing. Whatever he was about to do, I couldn't turn away. His eyes were so enchanting, his hair such a unique color, that I almost didn't notice he was climbing onto the platform right in front of me. Wait a second. Climbing onto the platform? But my realization, it was too late to turn around. His bare chest and body came into view. He pulled himself up over the side with strong, toned arms. Hair, once slick with water, now seemed to be miraculously dry as he pulled himself up. Then the tail came and my mouth dropped. It was longer than I thought it would be. I blush as it comes into view. It feels like seeing a sensitive, almost hidden part of him. The tail was sparkling with different tidbits of color. Dark blue, cobalt, and turquoise feature the most powerful. And in the darkness of the night, they look especially powerful. But as he pulls himself over the edge, the tail disappears and two strong, sturdy legs take form. I watched in amazement and admittedly a bit of horror as they morph into something familiar. It's ironic to be horrified by things as normal legs, but you don't usually see tails being contorted into them on a regular basis. He's naked. I turn around quickly. There's always one who doesn't like to listen to instructions. I covered my face with my hands in horror. He was right. I should have just listened to him and turned around like the others to save myself from the humiliation. Brennan turns around first and immediately regrets doing so. Jeez, for crying out loud, put some clothes on. I just came out of the damn ocean, Einstein. You think you can manifest a wardrobe from thin air? Brennan throws him his dark blue jacket, although Crylis is lying on the floor. From what I saw, he had a fairly athletic stature. It could easily match Brennan in height. Thankfully, the jacket was oversized, so for no surprises. Coast clear? Can we turn around? Brennan nods in her direction, and seeing the nod, I turn around too, just as Crylis zips up the jacket. It is oversized on him, and he looks cute with it on, like he'd borrowed clothing from a boyfriend. I try not to think too much about what could be hiding it. Well, now what? Why'd you come out of the water? You have no business here. How hostile. Are all humans like him? There's a Shion, and Shion looks away, annoyed at the two of them. Well, that aside, we have a bit of a problem. A problem? Did he come to warn us about something? Was that the true reason why he came from the sea to alert us to some greater danger? I can't get up. What? I should have known. I can't get up. I don't exactly know how to use these legs, or are they feet? Same difference. Brennan rolls his eyes as he stoops to Crylis to give him a hand and pulls him up. As I suspected, Brennan and Crylis are around the same height. Crylis takes a hesitant step. Then once more, and then pushing Brennan off and then pulling him back again as he realizes he couldn't support himself without him, Crylis tries to walk. I watch Crylis intently, still not quite believing what I see before me. At first he ambles awkwardly. His limbs are gangly and uncoordinated. The ankle hits one of the containers of the fisherman, and although he doesn't react to the pain if he felt it, I do notice that he has a bluish tattoo or a mark on his left ankle. I make a mental note to ask him about it later. After a few minutes of practice and mumbles of disbelief from Shion, Crylis seems to be mostly efficient in walking by himself, although from time to time he rests for a few seconds on any nearby objects such as the platform, pillars, or boxes of fishing equipment. He turns back to Shion. Your name? My name's Shion, but what is it to you? Crylis runs a hand through his hair. Perhaps I wanted to apologize for inconveniencing you. It's obvious you didn't really choose to be here, so I'm saying my piece whilst my mood is still high. Shion is silent as Crylis shrugs. Well, it's happening, so you don't need to apologize. Hey, what about me and Melody? You basically attacked me. Is that not doing anything to your guilty conscience? Please stop talking. We have another issue to address here, and you sound very selfish. Turns to me. Take me in. Excuse me? I need a place to stay. Take me in. Brennan looks like he's about to faint. You mean into my home? For you to stay overnight? What? You want to stay with me? Hey, let's not just jump to conclusions here. I just need a place to stay for the night. A means to an end. I'm not exactly spoiled for choice here. Either you and the other one sane person between us, or the nutcase over here. Shion interjected quickly. I hope you know we're not friends. How about you turn around and go back to the ocean? I'm sure there's plenty of space for you to stay there without spouting crazy ideas. Not paying any attention to their argument, I'm more caught up in the sudden proposition. Should I let him stay with me? Brennan looks at me incredulously and realizes I'm thinking about it. You're not telling me you're seriously considering his offer. He's a full-grown man who you just met, and you're actually thinking about letting him into your home? Shion, are you okay with this? Actually, I'm not a man, especially if a man resembles anything that you are. I come from the sea, thank you very much. Get to know. Brennan ignores him as he raises his hands to the sky in exasperation as Crylis stops leaning on the support pillars and instead sits cross-legged on the wooden planks on the floor. I'm tired, and I don't care. I'm locking the room door anyways. Melody just met you, and here we are meeting you at 2 a.m. and discovering a world of literal fantasy. You can play here all you like, but we just met you as well. Brennan looks slightly hurt, but he just shrugs it off. Good point. Oh, great. Now she's leaving it all up to me. So much for being the responsible one. While we're actually discussing letting the squid in, it's up to you, Mel. Just hurry up, please. I want to go home. It's almost 3 a.m. Do I let Crylis stay here all night? Do I make him go with Brennan? Do I bring him home? Well, could let him stay. I think that's the choice to make. But you know what? I think I'm going to let you guys make that choice as well. So I'm going to end the quick look off here. And if you like the game, make sure to check it out on Steam. Memories on the Shoreline. It seems like a really great game. It's pretty cheap. It's only $6. So, you know, it's not breaking the bank too much. You know, it supports smaller indie developers. I'm always appreciative of that. So if you liked the video, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more visual novel content. Have a good day, everyone, and take care.